right, parents, let me ask you for a little advice here. You know, one of the things, or the thing that I love about my relationship with my youngest son is it has turned into the relationship that I really wanted with my dad, right? He's my son and we have boundaries, but he's like my little friend.
Aww.
That's dope.
Like, I love watching sports with him. I love hearing his stories about what's going on in his life. I love traveling with the kid.
He's your buddy, man.
He's my buddy.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you know, I do feel very strongly that you, at least for me, you can't be I can't be best friends with my kids because there does have to be that line. But I really like where it's at, right? So I think part of the reason why we got there, or how we got there, I'm not sure is healthy or not. And this is why I'm asking parents, how honest are you with your kids about your past? Like, what percentage of honest are you with them? Are you at 70%? Are you at 10%? I think I'm floating at about 85% honesty with Hollis about my life when I was younger. So that means he's asking me a lot of questions now about drinking, about smoking weed in high school, other drugs that I was doing. We have talks about relationships I had when I was younger also. And I would say I'm rocking at about 85% honesty. Like,
That's pretty honest.
yeah, and there's some really ugly parts to it. You know, life is messy, and I just don't want that parent-child relationship where he's looking at me up on a pedestal because I have been so perfect, because I certainly haven't.
They need to know we're flawed.
Yeah,
Flawed,
That's
man.
big. Yeah.
So I think that there are two ways to parent there. There are some that are like, you know what? This is what you should do, and what I did in my past doesn't matter. Is that more credible than telling them that you have gone through the same things? Because I'll be honest, I mean, I've told him some real ugly truths. Like, he's asked me about cocaine back in the day. I used to do a lot of cocaine. He asked me about weed. He's asked me about sex. And I really haven't held back too much. I think probably the only thing I've really held back is like his mom and I when we were having problems, or after the divorce, we had some real tense times, and that's one that I keep close to the vest. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's been pretty damn honest.
Is there any concern? Because yes, I do feel like our children need to know that by no means is anybody perfect, including their parents. We all have our flaws. Is there ever any concern when you're disclosing that? He's like, well, look how good dad turned out. I can do this stuff too, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, there is.
Because that would be my concern.
Sure. Yep, there 100% is. I think, yeah, I mean, when it comes to college also, you know, I've done pretty good without finishing 4 years in college, and I would really like for him to do that in 4 or 5, 6 or 7 years, whatever it's going to take. But yeah, they could look at my life and they could both say, like, you didn't finish college, so you did pretty good, but...
I know for me, my dad was huge on complete transparency. He was always 100% honest with me, and we had that kind of relationship too when I was younger, where he was like my best friend. He still is. And he kind of felt like, you're going to get this information one way or another. You're going to get it from your friends. You're going to get it in the streets. And I'd much rather you get it from me as authentic as you possibly can. And I think it helped, because a lot of the questions and things that a lot of my peers had when I was growing up, I kind of somewhat already had a lot of that information and answers to it because of the way that my dad decided to be honest with me about everything.
Hey, Kate, give me 1 second here and I'll for sure take you. 1-855-BERT-SHOW. How about your parents? Were they 100% with you, or
no?
That stuff didn't even come up?
Not really. They were not when we were in high school. It wasn't until even after college, like as adults, that's when I got the good stories. But I mean, you gotta know, it was the 60s. So my dad telling me these stories of how, like, he dropped his Quaaludes at a James Brown concert and asked a security guard to help him pick them up. Like, so, I mean, I got those stories after the fact, and like some things that he experienced in Vietnam and, because obviously there was drug use over there. So, but I didn't get that when I was 15, 16.
Good morning, Kate. You are part of the Bert Show. Thanks for joining the conversation. What's up?
Hey, good morning. I would say, I'm a mom of 4, and I can say I'm probably 99.9% completely honest with my kids.
Really? Was there ever a conversation that you had with them where you're like, oh man, maybe I shared just a little bit too much on that one?
Probably, but I mean, they range in ages now from like 24 to almost 16. So with being completely honest with them comes with it, that they now feel comfortable to tell me everything. So I don't know. Sometimes I wish they weren't as honest with me about some choices that they make, but I mean, like you said, it's messy. I mean, and I want my kids to know that it's not like finite. These things that happen to them that, make really bad decisions and there's consequences to it, but we've all kind of been there and we've all kind of done this, or maybe a little bit different, but I just want them to be able to talk to me about it. So, yeah, I mean, there's been some really awkward and uncomfortable things I've shared, but I've shared them.
I appreciate you calling. I almost think that in my eyes, like the attempt at perfection is worse than the mistakes you make along the way. And trying to shoot for perfection or trying to show somebody how great you are, how perfect you are, is more damning than just showing me you messed up, you screwed up. It's okay. We're going to get past it.
So to clarify, because we've had discussions before on this show when it comes to disclosing information about a parental relationship, whether they're still together or in divorce. So you're just talking about like what you did back in the day as a teenager, as an adolescent, as a young adult, but you would not share things that like happened with you and Stacy to your kids.
No, that's totally off limits.
See, okay. So as long as we have that understanding, because I do feel like those are like two different things.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have probably told them in broad terms, but nothing specific.
Yeah, because
they have never heard a bad word come out of my mouth about their mother.
Yeah.
Abby, good morning. You were on the Bert Show. Hi.
Good morning. How are y'all?
Good, thank you. Okay, what percentage honest are you with your kids?
Okay, so my kid is 2.5, so I'm a little slow on it, but I've been planning on how I'm going to not be the parent my parents were for forever, which is I'm going to be pretty honest with him. I have a hard past, I guess. I'm 5 years clean,
Great.
And that's that I plan on being completely transparent with him. Addiction runs in our family, and he's going to go to NA meetings, and we're going to discuss it, and it's going to be clear, Mommy did lots of cocaine, but now we don't do that anymore.
Good for you.
And,
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a good third-year-old birthday party. I wouldn't take him then.
No,
So one of
the
those
theme is
meetings.
blow. I don't think that would be a good idea. But that's awesome that she's going to be that open
Yes,
about it, because
for sure.
again, there's so many stigmas around stuff like that, that to be able to tackle that head on with your child, to make them understand, especially if it runs in the family, so they have an understanding. I think that's to be commended.
Yeah, and my ex-wife is on the same page. I mean, she shares everything with them. She had an addiction to prescription drugs. She has been very honest with them about it.
The Bert Show.
So first, thanks for watching. Second, you like what you just watched? That just scratches the surface. Get The Bert Show on any podcast platform. We're so good.